Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to another live stream edition of Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. To those of you that are new, welcome, and to my returning subscriber family, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to another hot session, hot live video with your man, Matt D. Talford, y'all. I cannot wait to share these nuggets with y'all that I found in this Superman movie, Superman 2025. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, okay? If you have not seen the movie, there's going to be some spoilers in here, so you may want to click off this video. And if you have an Amazon Prime Video account, pull up Amazon Prime Video and watch the movie before you come back and watch this, okay? So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't like spoilers, come back. Just close out of the video. I want you here, but I don't want you complaining at me, okay? What's up, Karen? Thank you for being here. Again, I want you here, but I don't want you complaining. So go click off this video, go and watch the movie. Pull it up. It's on Amazon Prime Video. I don't know how long it's going to be there because Amazon, they don't give you that warning like Netflix does. At least I haven't seen it. I don't know. I could be wrong. Y'all let me know in the chat or in the comments if Amazon does give you a warning that says, okay, this video is going to be leaving by XYZ date. Netflix does that. I don't think I've seen one on Amazon. I've seen I've gone back to watch some shows that I had saved up on my watch list on Amazon, and then the next thing you know, there's it's either not there or they got a little yellow thing there that says you can buy it or rent it or whatever. So she said didn't see the movie, but that's okay. I'm here for it. Okay, cool. I think you're gonna like what I have to share tonight. So y'all, let me go ahead and start a little music and just a little royalty-free reggae while we're waiting for a few more people to join. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know the vibes. Go ahead and tap that like button for me. You're doing me a huge favor. It is letting more people know. It's helping to push out this notification and let people know that we're live and talking about this Superman 2025 movie, y'all. These gems are going to blow y'all mind. These gems. But listen, this is probably the third straight live stream where I'm sharing with you all that Hollywood has people that work for the lights, and they encode these things in the scripts, in the various different movie scripts, TV scripts, sharing, or what do you call them? Streaming videos, streaming TV series. And y'all, I'm so tired of this thing freezing. I know what it is. I got a new modem, and I probably need to hang on, y'all. Hang on, because I'm not with this. Hang on. This thing is freezing every couple of frames. So hang on. Let me do something. Let me switch something up here and see if I get a little bit more out of it. Let me see, y'all. Hang on. Hang on 1 second, family. Let me see if I can switch this up a little bit. Hold on. Y'all, I'm going to go out for just a second, and it'll come right back in. It's going to be a temporary disconnection while I change networks, because I ain't about that tonight, y'all. I hate looking up and seeing this thing frozen. Let me see if I can do something different. Hang on. Okay, let me see if that does a little bit better. All right, y'all, let me put some music on. I got some green tea going because y'all can probably see how red my eyes are. It's been a long day. Your man did get that ceremonial nap that I like to get, or whatever you want to call it, that I like to get when I've had a long day before I come live at 8:35. So I'm gonna go grab me some green tea. It might mean that I'm up till the wee hours of the morning, but that's okay, y'all. Let me grab that. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna play a couple of minutes of this royalty-free reggae music, and then we're going to get the party started. So y'all hang on just 1 minute. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talbot. Please tap that like button as you're coming in, y'all. Window, let's turn that on. Let's hit this. Let's go down here, do this, share this, and hit play. All right, y'all, I'll be right back. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. All right, y'all, I'm back, and you're watching another live session with Maddie's Rap, or with author and storyteller Maddie Talford. Maddie's Rap is all the same. What's up there? Well, let me get some shouts out here. We got no 611 in the house. We got Karen in the house. We got Sen OJ in the house, and we got a few more. Y'all listen, we get this party started. Let's get it started, y'all. Thank y'all for being here tonight on this Sunday evening. Today's Sunday, June 28th, 2026, y'all, and we are past the summer solstice now, and the sun is working its way on back down. So we're gonna hit that fall equinox in just what? We're a couple of days away from July. So we got July, August, and September. We got about 90. We're about 90 days away from that fall equinox, y'all. And then we're getting into my time of year. I like that fall, winter time of year. That's just me. That's me. I'm a winter baby. It is what it is. All right, y'all. So let me get started. Let me bring my notes up. We're talking about the secret messages carefully hidden in the movie Superman 2025. All right. I want to know how many of them y'all saw. Okay. Y'all know I gave y'all this homework assignment a few nights ago, and I was like, y'all go watch the movie and write down what it is that you saw. Okay. So I'm going to jump right in here, y'all. Now, there's a couple of ways I could have done this. I thought about asking you guys what you saw, what you wanted to write from your notes. But I think that what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work from mine, and I'm just going to go down a bullet list of notes that I have on this topic, on the subject matter. And then y'all can kind of just compare it to your list that you have and scratch out or just put a check mark next to anything that you got that I have. And when I get to the end, if I missed anything that you have on your list, I want to hear from y'all, because it's time that you start watching these different shows and stuff and just keeping your eyes and ears open, okay? Because if you got eyes to hear, eyes to see and ears to hear, then you can kind of catch the messages, all right? Thank y'all again for being here. And without further ado, y'all, let me jump right in, okay? What's up, Lady Dagger Status? Thank you for being here. So, y'all know, this movie came out last year. It came out in July of 2025. And it, I guess they played at the movies or whatever. Y'all know how they do. Whatever they do, they keep it, it's in the movies for a while. And then it eventually works its way to one of the streaming platforms, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV Plus, whatever, however they got the contract structured. I don't know. But when I watched that movie the first time, y'all, I didn't want to take any notes because I just wanted to watch it for entertainment value, because I've been a fan of the Superman franchise since I was a little boy. Okay. And when I saw all of those gems, I was like, I got to let the family know about this one and see if we can't talk about this in a live stream. Because again, this goes back 2. This started with Disclosure Day. I told y'all what I saw on Disclosure Day. We talked about how them that have eyes to see and ears to hear can pick up these messages that these writers in Hollywood are laying down. I told you I'm of the strong belief that Hollywood has this whole internal white hat, black hat thing going on, which is an allusion to the spy agencies. You got so-called good spies and so-called bad spies, whatever. That's kind of where that term comes from. Well, I've felt for a long time. Listen, the universe is balanced. So in the same token that you have agencies that are supposed to be good, the church, they got the devil in full operation up in there. You got agencies that are supposed to be wicked, Hollywood, the entertainment industry, that have angels of light carefully dispersed in there, right? We saw that in scripture. He says, the parable of the wheat and the tares. Master, didn't you plant good seed in the field? Tell me then why there are tares growing among the wheat. If the enemy, and he said, what was the answer? An enemy have done this. Well, guess what? The universe is balanced. So if the owner of a good field of wheat can plant tares in there among the wheat, then guess what? The owner of a wicked field, can have the light plant tares among their wicked wheat. Why? Because the universe has got to stay in balance. It has got to stay in balance. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. Thank y'all once again for being here. Now, 11:22 on the timer there. How about that? So that might be somebody's birthday. Anyway, here we go, y'all. First one that I wrote down was this idea of meta-humans. Now, when you hear meta-humans, and again, this is a spoiler alert, so if you didn't see the movie, you might want to click off here, okay? If you didn't see the movie and you don't like spoilers, you might want to click off. If you don't mind spoilers, I'm talking here. I probably should have put spoiler alert in the title, but it is in the description box, so don't be mad at me because I'm dropping them now. I'm not giving away the whole movie, but I am going to talk about some themes that appear in the movie. First theme, meta-humans. Now, when I first heard that mentioned in the movie, I thought, okay, what is this? Is this some sort of hybrid AI human? Because that the term meta kind of gives Meta, which is used formerly called Facebook, and now it's this whole suite that they laid out there to do what they do, and then you got the metaverse, which is artificial intelligence or AI, or not real fantasy. Okay, fantasy that looks real, fantasy that tricks your mind. Your mind doesn't know the difference between virtual reality and reality. The cells in your body, I should say, your mind, you're conscious of the fact that you're wearing a VR headset or something like that, which I don't own one, not interested in it. Okay, I don't own any Meta glasses, not interested in any of those. I'm good. I'm good. If that's you, do you. Okay. I do know what they look like though. So if you roll up on me with some Meta glasses on, I'm gonna ask you to take them off. Okay. All right. Or I'm not talking to you. All right. Seen too many nefarious things with some of these YNs out there talking slick to people's moms and grandmoms that's old enough to be their mother and grandmother, and they talking slick to them and got them, and then putting the videos up on social media. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Disgusting. But that's a story for another day. Anyway, so meta humans, I think the term sort of gives, when you watch the movie, demigod, or these human beings that have these superhuman gifts, the abilities to do things that average humans cannot do. These are the metahumans in the movie. Okay, so when I heard metahumans, again, don't hear the term metahumans and think that they're fake or virtual or something like that, or they've taken some sort of neural link that Elon Musk is putting out there, something that's kind of in there. We're gonna get to that. But the metahumans are like, they called Superman a metahuman. So a metahuman is somebody that has human form, but they have supernatural and just these supernatural gifts. They could be physical, they could be spiritual, they could be both. Okay, metahumans. I was like, The next one, number 2. I'm not gonna say numbers because I got a bunch of bullet points and I'm probably gonna get my numbers mixed up. So I'm not gonna do that. I'll just say the next one. The next one, Superman whistles for his dog. Okay, when he's in trouble, he whistles for his dog to come to his aid. And no matter where that dog is, and no matter where Superman is, that dog hears Superman's whistle and he shows up. What is that? Y'all put that in the chat if you got an idea of what that might be. Y'all put that in the chat, okay? What Matt saw that as is them showing you about, one, telepathic, not quite telepathic because he's whistling, but what is a whistle? It is a sound frequency, okay? Sound frequency. So they're showing you how sometimes we communicate via sound frequencies. Y'all know, if y'all ever use a dog whistle, dogs can, when you blow a dog whistle, it's inaudible to the human ear, but a dog can hear it, okay? So frequency, thank you, Lady Dagger Status, frequency. So that was the next little hidden gem in there. Hey, you know what? He's whistling. If you're just watching that for the entertainment value, you see Superman whistling for Super Dog, and then Super Dog shows up regardless of where he is. But that's sound frequency, okay? That is frequency, and guess what? Anybody can whistle, but that dog is only going to respond to the whistle of Superman. Y'all think about Psalms 91:11 and how that might apply there. It is written, he will give his angels charge over you. Okay, Psalms 91:11. Let me pull it up. I'm not going to put it on the screen. I'm just going to pull it up and read it really quick. Psalms 9. This is going to be rapid fire tonight, family. Psalms 91 and 11, unless the spirit moves me differently. I've learned to keep my mouth shut, or try to, because when I say it's going to be short, it ends up not being short. It is what it is. For he shall give, Psalms 91:11, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Okay. All right. You could read on down through verse 12 says, they shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against the stone. When he whistles and he's in trouble, that dog grabs his cape or whatever, and grabs him up with his mouth and pulls him up out of danger and flies off with him. Okay. Okay. In this movie, spoiler alert, Superman getting that work. Okay. He ain't looking super against some of these enemies they throwing at him. All right. But anyway, verse 12, they shall bear thee up in their hands. In this case, it was in the dog's mouth, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. What is dashing thy foot against a stone? Getting hurt really bad. The dog came and rescued him. Verse 13, thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Okay. All of that goes with Psalms 91:11. It hooks into what happens when these angels show up to assist you. So that was another little hidden nugget I got there. Superman whistles for his dog, and no matter where he is, that dog picks up that frequency. Okay. Next, Superman's dog has gifts too. Superman's dog has gifts too. How many of y'all out there are pet owners? Put it in the chat. Now, don't go too much in. Don't give me too many details, because the ops watch these channels too. They just keep their mouth shut and try to act like they're not watching, but they watching. They watching all the light workers. They probably got a database of who they consider chosen one. It's like, okay, is this person a threat to the dark side or not? It's probably that simple. They're probably that black and white. I know they watch me. I don't need nobody to tell me. I know they do. Okay, that's why I talk my all right. So don't tell me nothing about. Don't get into detail about your dog. Okay. Just understand. And I've heard a lot of people who are cat owners tell me this. Now, I'm not a cat person. Never have been. Never will be. I'm a dog person. Just kind of grew up with dogs. Dogs have gifts too. There's certain breeds of dogs that pick up. And I'm hearing, y'all, since this flip has started happening, since this transition to the new earth has started happening, I'm hearing more and more people say that their dogs are picking up the presence of spirits, benevolent or malevolent. So if your dog looking in the distance and it's normal to do that if a dog hears a sound outside the door or something like that. But if you're looking up, you're like, what's he growling at? Okay. And I hear people that own cats, they say that cats ward off unclean spirits. Cats ward off evil spirits. They're afraid of cats. There's a whole spiritual science to cats that I'm not aware of, but I take the word of the people who do have cats. But I thought that was interesting that Superman's dog, which really in the movie, it turns out when you get to the end, you find out it's not his dog. It's actually his cousin's dog. That little funny scene there at the end, which I'm going to talk about when I get to the end of my notes here. Okay. So if you, those of you with pets, y'all let me know. Do your pets, was Senator J said, yes, those whistles went across the universe seemingly. I can share some of these to the screen, y'all, because this ain't a super serious video tonight where I can kind of watch it while I'm talking. Walu Clippy said, I have a dog. He said, why are their lifespans so short? Just curious. I wish I knew the answer to that, Walu Clippy. I think a lot of it has to do with the protocol that they have for dogs today, with these dogs getting all these shots. All right. When we were younger, I'm not going to tell what the mileage on this vehicle is right now, but let's just say, suffice it to say that I've got considerable mileage on this vehicle. Okay, I like to look at it that way because the driver of the vehicle is eternal. You are eternal, but everybody's vehicle's got, you got low miles on it or high miles, all right? And some of us are in the mid miles, okay, mid mileage, whatever. Anyway, but back in the day when I was a kid, people had dogs, 15, 20 years easy. Now these dogs they're not living all that long compared to how long they used to live. And I think a lot of that, I was watching this Canadian veterinarian one day on a video, and he was addressing some panel or something. And he was like, listen, y'all, he said back in the 70s and early 80s, he said, dogs got one rabies shot that lasted them their whole life. He said, we're injecting these dogs too much. He said these dogs are getting all of these different vaccines every 1 to 3 years. They're getting these shots over and over. And he said what he starts to find when the dogs get to be around 7, 8, 9 years old is that they're developing tumors at the injection sites. And so this particular doctor was saying, he said, if your dog got a rabies shot when he was younger, he said, when did it change? He said that dog wasn't going to get rabies. He would never become rabid if he got that rabies shot when he was a puppy. Why are they doing it now? It's to keep your dog coming into the clinic and, making sure that these dogs don't live that long. Think about it. If your dog is living 20 years and he going out in the yard eating grass and making himself throw up or whatever dogs do to keep themselves healthy, their immune systems are just as smart as ours. They know what they need. All right. So anyway, I went way off topic with that. But yeah, that's my guess on it, Walu Clippy. I think it's the same thing that's causing problems in humans that's causing problems in dogs. Okay. Just me. Lady Dagger Status said, I used to be afraid of cats until one showed up daily and I took her in. She definitely seemed to see things sometimes. Yup. They say each colored cat is for different reasons. I heard black cats ward off evil spirits. That's very interesting, Lady Dagger Status. Thanks for sharing that. So to get back to the notes, Superman's dog has gifts too. He was a super dog. He was a meta canine. Okay, meta canine. Next up, when Superman goes back to his lair or his home away from home, or his abode is what I call it, he gets repaired by the robots that are in there to help him, recover from his injuries. And again, I've never seen Superman get beat up. The only time I've ever seen Superman kind of get dogged out historically is from kryptonite. But in this movie, you're going to find out that Lex Luthor he's got Superman's number to a degree, and he's working him over a little bit. So he goes back to his lair, and he's got these robots that they attend to him and help him get his strength back. But they play this video that crash landed with him when he came to Earth, and it's his parents talking, and his parents call him by the name that they named him, and that name is Kal-El. They call him Kal-El. That was the name given to Superman by his parents. Now, I'd heard that name before, and where I heard that name was on the streaming Tubi TV, documentary, the documentary Theft of the Black Gods, the superheroes. So I went and I pulled up that clip, and I want to show y'all something here, because again, we're talking about the hidden messages, the hidden nuggets in this Superman movie. And y'all, there were so many of them. I felt like they just was like, look, we don't care. We dumping everything we got into this movie. We're dumping everything we got into this movie, which I'm gonna skip y'all to the end of the movie, and I'm gonna come back. I have to say this now because it's on my mind. They dumped so many nuggets into this one movie. It's almost as if we're not going to have another opportunity to put everything out here. We don't know what's coming. So let's dump everything we know into this one movie. Now, when you get to the end of the movie, you're back at Superman's lair, and there is a robot. One of his robots is reading a newspaper. Now, you could tell that this was a throw-in scene where they wanted you to see something, because there's a lot of numerology in there, and I'm going to talk about that when I get there. But what's interesting, in reference to what I'm saying now, with the overwhelming number of hidden messages they put in this film, they're on the back of this newspaper. So you're looking at a newspaper. You got the front page here. You got the newspaper open, and you got the back page here. On the back page, in small print, it says "Final Edition." I took a picture. I'm gonna show it to you all at the end when I get to the numerology part. But it says "Final Edition." And so now I'm just making sense of this as I'm talking to you guys real time. They put so many messages in this movie. It was almost as if the writers are telling us, we're never going to get an opportunity to share this stuff with you guys again. So let's tell you everything right now, because we're at the end. And at the back page of the newspaper that the robot's reading at the end of the movie, it says "Final Edition." Yeah, that one blew my mind too. So let me show y'all this clip from Theft of the Black Gods, okay? Let me show y'all this. I'm going to pull it up now. Thank y'all for being here. Don't forget to tap the like button as you're coming in. I appreciate it. All righty. You know what? Let's escape here. I don't have the window open. Give me 1 second. I forgot I had to reboot. Y'all, hey, let me know in the chat if y'all use an Apple computer and you installed the latest OS update. Has your computer been acting flaky since you put it on there? Y'all, I've never had a problem with a Mac OS until this latest one. And I think it's because they got Siri intelligence in here. Like I told you, you cannot get away from AI right now. You can say, well, I'm not going to use AI. But if you got a recent device, and it's not one of those open source devices where they intentionally do not put AI in it, you're using AI. You almost can't get away from it. Anyway, let me show y'all this clip. All right, I got it open there. Let's come back here, share. All right, y'all, watch this clip.
7 Superman adaptations, and that's not including the video games and the cameos and other movies. And we've never seemed to get tired of this character.
But what is the hidden meaning behind this most beloved superhero, adorned with one of the most recognizable symbols next to that of the Christian cross.
Superman is modeled after the sun god Heru of Kemet, much like the African Loa Shango or the Persian god Mazda, the Hindu god Shiva, even the Greek god Zeus, and the Roman god Jupiter. He's also a representation of Jesus Christ. Superman's birth name is coincidentally Kal-El. Kal is a Proto-Indo-European word which means darkness, of gloom. In Sanskrit, they really don't beat around the bush. It means black. El is the Semitic word for God. El Elyon is God the Most High, the equivalent of Anu, who is the highest sky god of the Sumerians, dating back some 5,000 years before Christianity. So Kal-El translates as Black God of the Sky.
Kal-El, Black God of the Sky. I thought that was interesting. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the little subtitle I put in there that referenced the name of the character that played Eddie Murphy's mother in the first Coming to America movie. Remember, you had King Joffrey Jaffer, who was played by James Earl Jones, and then you had this what was that sister's name, y'all? I cannot think of her name, but she played his wife, and in the movie, her name was Elyon at Kal-El, and he said, "Let me run that back. Let me run that back." Because y'all know I'm a Mercury and Sagittarius. I'll forget it as fast as I say it or hear it. Let me see something here. Hang on, y'all. Hang on. Let me run that little part back. All right, here we go. You run it again.
7 Superman adaptations.
I'll pause it when I get to it.
And that's not including the video games and the cameos and other movies. And we've never seemed to get tired of this character.
But what is the hidden meaning behind this most beloved superhero, adorned with one of the most recognizable symbols next to that of the Christian cross?
Superman.
Where my tennis fans at? If I got any tennis fans out there, y'all, any y'all that are tennis fans, does that not look like Andy Murray? I had to pause it there. That looks like Andy Murray. Too bad Andy Murray didn't play like Superman. He played great, but he never could win that. I think he won one slam. He won Wimbledon once, but and I think he did reach number 1. But Andy Murray was a heck of a player. But he came through at the time with Roger Federer, and he just, that was like Michael Jordan robbing a whole bunch of people that would have won titles by his presence. It was the same with Roger Federer, Nadal, and Andy Roddick and them, and Andy Murray. He just couldn't beat them top guys. But I thought this guy looks like Andy Murray. So for my tennis fans, y'all may or may not agree with that. Let me know in the chat. Here we go.
To that of the Christian cross.
Superman is modeled after the sun god Heru of Kemet, much like the African Loa Shango or the Persian god Mazda, the Hindu god Shiva, even the Greek god Zeus, and the Roman god Jupiter. He's also a representation of Jesus Christ. Superman's birth name is coincidentally Kal-El. Kal is a Proto-Indo-European word which means darkness, of gloom. In Sanskrit, they really don't beat around the bush. It means black. El is the Semitic word for God. El Elyon is God the Most High.
El Elyon. All right, let me jump over to a different window, and let me see if I can't pull up her name, because I want to give her credit. I don't want to look like I don't, you know what I mean. Let me give her credit. I knew James Earl Jones played the husband. Let me give her credit. Let's see, Coming to America. All right, there it is. Cast. Madge Sinclair. Her name is Madge Sinclair. Madge, Madge Sinclair. Okay. So, but her name was Queen Elyon. El Elyon, God the Most High. That in and of itself to me suggests that in 1988 they were trying to perhaps give us an idea of the feminine nature of the Most High. And we see that show up in scripture, especially in Proverbs chapter 4. Okay. So I just thought that, again, this movie is so full of nuggets, and to cross-reference it with Theft of the Black Gods from Tubi TV and hear this part, because I was looking for that little clip where they talked about what the meaning of Kal-El is. And then to hear them go on and talk about El Elyon, God the Most High, it immediately took my mind back to Coming to America and the name of Eddie Murphy, whose name was in the movie. It was Akeem, Prince Akeem. His mother's name was Elyon. Here it's called El Elyon is God the Most High. I thought that was mind-blowing, y'all. So let me keep this going. She says the El Preppy Girl Vids. I thank you so much. What's up, Maya? Thank you. What's up, Maya? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Madge Sinclair. Thank you. Thank you, Commander Cisco. Thank you so much. Let's see. I'll come back to those at the end. Doc Dwight said one of my guys was speaking to me and a cat looked up right in their direction. It was crazy. Yeah, I keep hearing that. Fortress of Solitude. Thank you. That was the name of his lair. Thank you so much. Walu said, yeah, they try to keep us sick too, receiving injection. Yep, exactly. And I'll run through it now. Senator J said, I've had issues since the update too. Yeah, Apple, they're not looking real good right now. Steve Jobs probably turning over in his grave. But it still ain't good enough to put me on Windows, but that's a story for another day. And anyway, okay. The paper is interesting because there was Avengers Endgame, then this new one soon is called Doomsday. I didn't know they had a new Avengers movie coming out. Thank you for letting me know that. And I did see Avengers Endgame. Very interesting. Very interesting. So she said, the L makes me think of how I keep hearing if L is in a name, it could be a fallen angel, but I watch some odd channels. There's so much information out there right now. You've got to really go within. Remember, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. You got to go within and ask for guidance on sifting and parsing through this information and let it be that what is truth is illuminated and what is not truth falls away. That's one of my prayers when I'm taking in some of this information. Okay, so let's get back to this. El Elyon. I thought that was very interesting, y'all. Let me close that and get back to my notes. Okay, so Kal-El was the name given to Superman by his parents. When you look that up, and y'all can reference that documentary I just pulled up. It is called Theft of the Black Gods, the Superheroes. It's about 1 hour and 15 minutes, and you can watch it on Tubi TV. Okay. Next, no matter how damaged. I got that part. Okay, good. Wait, show bonus Queen Alien IMDb screenshot. Let me do that. I want to follow with my notes, so hang on. Let's see. Let's open it. All right, let's switch the window over here. And I don't have it open, so give me a sec. There it is. Okay. Hints, y'all. Little hints, little clues they drop in these, the nuggets they drop. The nuggets they drop, y'all. Okay. As you can see on the screen, here's a screenshot of the IMDb page from Coming to America. Madge Sinclair, Queen Alien. Okay, and those are some thumbnails of her right there. What are they saying, y'all? What are they saying? Just put it out there. Just something to think about. Okay. All right. So let's keep it moving. Next, no matter how damaged he is, talking about Superman. Nuggets I got from the movie. Hidden messages. No matter how damaged Superman is, it is direct sunlight exposure and rest that restores him to full strength. What are they saying? Y'all need to look at some of the videos, some of the reels that I share to my story on Instagram, because there are people I think I just shared one a day or so ago where they were talking about that there was this one Asian American doctor or guy. I don't know if he's a doctor or not, but he in fact, I watched some of his TikTok videos. He's just somebody, I call him a light worker, because he doesn't just deal with medicine. He deals with metaphysics. Y'all may have seen a couple of the TikTok videos I showed when I was talking about the 33rd parallel with regards to this fake war for oil. Like, they always make it about oil, but it's funny how the majority of these wars are situated in the vicinity of 33 degrees north. Okay. Anyway, he had quite a few videos on there talking about the portals around the earth. And I probably should have pulled 1 or 2 of those in for this, but I'll keep it moving. And I don't remember his name, y'all. I'm gonna have to maybe go back in the comments and give y'all a link to a TikTok video with him or something, so you'll know who I'm talking about. But he's an Asian guy, and he does a lot of stuff about spiritual and metaphysics. So he dropped a video the other day on Instagram where he's talking about how sun gazing right at sunrise or right at sunset and being outside and exposed to the lower frequency, not the intense solar radiation you get in the midday, which that doesn't bother me. I'll go out and play a tennis match in that. I want it all. But he was saying that sun gazing can activate the pineal gland if you sun gaze right after sunrise or right before sunset. And that was one of the things he's talking about. But again, in the movie, no matter how damaged Superman gets, no matter how much damage his body's taking, he could be almost dead. These robots, they expose him to direct sunlight, and that sunlight, that solar radiation heals his body and restores him to full strength. Anybody planted food in their garden, look at those marks that look like you see a scab or something on a tomato or something like that. When you cut into that tomato, you're expecting it to be bad. That tomato is completely healed. The only evidence that there was some sort of damage to that tomato is that scabbed over skin. But you can literally peel that off and you won't see anything brown underneath it. That ought to tell you what the sun, if the sun does that for plant life, it does it for human life as well. It does it for all life. Okay. I had a family member years ago that was battling some COVID symptoms. Okay. I went to go see him in Virginia and he didn't want to come around me. He's like, look, I don't want you to get whatever. So I said, all right, look, here's some things that I take to purge my body when I'm dealing with some stuff. I don't want to do too much on this platform because y'all know how they are. Here's some things that I take to purge my body when I'm going through something. When you purge and you rehydrate and you rest, don't eat, just purge, rehydrate, and rest. And I said, there's one more thing I want you to do. I said, go to a grassy area of your apartment complex, just an open area, a green space that has direct sunlight. And I want you to go out there, just your shorts on, no shirt, no shoes. Just go out there with just your shorts on and sit your butt on the ground, exposed to that sunlight. Lie back on the grass if you need to, and let that sun and that earth just stay out there 20 to 25 minutes and watch what happens. He did it one day, hit me up and said, wow. Went in, took a shower, went to sleep. He hydrated, went to sleep, woke up the next morning. He said, I'm like 50 to 75% better. He said, I'm not 100%, but he said, I feel way better than I did yesterday. How did you know to do that? I said, the sun heals us. Okay. So they show you that in the movie. Y'all get out there and get you some sunlight exposure. Sunlight exposure beats anything they put in this earth. It beats anything they put in this earth. Okay. All of this stuff they got you. Go out there and earth. Put your bare feet, your bare back, sit your butt on the ground, whatever, on the earth. Sit with your back to a tree, whatever, and get direct sunlight exposure, especially on that pineal gland, but on your whole skin. I go out there sometimes in the summer, I cut the grass with no shirt on. Now I'm not gonna use that weed eater with no shirt on because I ain't built like that. All right, that be kicking up rocks and stuff. I ain't built like that. But I will cut the grass with no shirt on because I want to soak up that sunlight. Okay. All right. I'll go to a public tennis court, take my shirt off, and just drill, hit some serves, hit some backhands, some forehands, whatever. Okay. Y'all get some direct sunlight on your skin. If you live near the ocean, that's perfect. That's perfect if you live near the ocean because you just go out there, do what you do. Your ladies, your bathing suit, fellas, you know how you're going to be at the beach. You got it all right there. You got all 4 elements right there at the beach, at the water's edge. You got all 4 elements. Go do it. Okay. The sun heals us. The earth heals us. Okay. So now next, what was the name? Let me go back to the comments to get the name of that Superman's lair again. Y'all gave it to me. Mr. Commander Cisco did. It was Fortress of Solitude. Fortress of Solitude. Okay. Thank you again, Commander Cisco. So you go to Superman's abode, which is the Fortress of Solitude. And what I noticed is the location of it. It seems that his lair is at the edge of the earth, the edge of the earth, the edge of the world, somewhere within that Antarctic ice. Now, I ain't gonna get into arguing about the heliocentric versus the geocentric model. Y'all already know how I feel about that, okay? Y'all know which one of those I look at. Y'all know which one of those models is more in alignment with scripture and the book of Enoch, especially, okay? Y'all know which one of those. If put the geocentric model over here, geocentric means it's the earth is the center of the universe, and the planets and the sun and the moon revolve around the earth inside the firmament. And then the heliocentric one says, well, the earth is floating in space and is a giant ball spinning it however many thousands of miles an hour, and it's rotating around the sun, and all the planets rotate around the sun, and then our solar system rotates around another. That's the heliocentric model, okay? I ain't gonna get into that. I just wanted to lay it out there for you. Whatever you do is whatever you do. Whatever your mind tells you is for you, your mind, it's gonna be that, okay? Can't nobody change your mind unless you want to change it. So it is what it is. However, if you're familiar with that geocentric model and you see the secrets hidden within the UN map, because they show you something with that UN map, look at it. Look at it. Some people will tell you that's the lay of the land, but I ain't here to argue tonight. But if you roll with that narrative, that ice wall is the edge of just one layer, and then by some accounts, there's some ancient maps that say, hey, you know what? There's water. There's waterways through there, and then they lead to open waters to other realms or whatever, with their own suns and moons. That's too much for me. Okay, it's above my pay grade. However, when you hear the story about Admiral Richard Byrd and what he saw when he went to Antarctica, okay, the type of technology and the type of, dare I say, superhuman life that existed there, and the route of whatever military, some military went down there like we the baddest on the planet and got routed, got ran back with the tail between the legs. Y'all read some of the stories, okay? We'll just call them stories. We'll call them fictional stories, okay? Because they've not been proven, okay? Anyway, interesting that Superman's lair is somewhere within the Antarctic ice. Superman, metahuman, Kal-El, his lair is at the edge, the ice, where there's no other life there, no other habitation. I'm like, why are we seeing this? Why are they putting this in here? Okay. Just thought that was interesting. Next, Lex Luthor, Superman's arch villain, his arch nemesis. Lex Luthor is the owner of a multinational defense corporation and has been studying Superman for years. And in this movie, he has built technology that he is now sure will defeat this metahuman. Technology to defeat those superhumans that have supernatural gifts. Studying them for years. Studying these metahumans, especially Superman, for years, and has built technology that he is certain is going to defeat him. This is why the movie opens up with Superman getting his ass kicked. Okay? All right? Pay attention. That's another nugget. They're letting you know that somebody out there, some of these multinational defense corporations are watching individuals to see who had, and could perhaps be studying people's DNA. Some of y'all be giving up blood samples and stuff like that. What are they doing with those samples? Okay. Studying. Look at that little thing that just flew in front of me. Okay. All right. That was for a reason. Listen, nothing's a coincidence, right? Anyway, studying for years. Okay. And building technology to try to defeat him. Where else did we see that? The Tomorrow War. They just get out of here. Little moth. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too loud in the microphone. I don't know if I got him or not. Yeah, I didn't see his see his remains in my hand, so probably didn't get him. Anyway, so y'all pay attention. We saw that in the Tomorrow War. Studying, getting blood samples, building technology to try to defeat somebody that you cannot beat without technology or technological assistance. Next hidden nugget was the usage of portals the usage of portals to literally walk from one side or one part of the world to another. Okay. These portals allowed them to traverse great linear distances in minutes, not hours. You walk into a portal, you go through this void, you enter that other portal, and then you're on a different part of the world in minutes, just like me getting up and walking to the house across the street. It's like me going out my front door, walking to the house across the street, walking into that front door, and I'm in New York now. I go through another portal, I'm in Australia. Y'all, you know that the word on the street is certain governments, militaries have been finding portals for ages and trying to blow them up, okay? Because first of all, they don't know how to activate them, but blowing them up. Why are they showing you this in Superman? Why are they showing you this existence of these portals that have been built that allow people to traverse these great distances simply by walking, tens of feet, maybe a couple of 100 feet? Interesting, okay? All right, so they're using portals in here. Now, not only did Luthor Corp have a portal, the president of this fictional country called Boravia also had one in his presidential palace. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all about Boravia in just a minute. Next, Lex Luthor, the whole reason the movie opens, the whole reason he goes to war against Superman is because Superman was the only energy that was standing in the way of, or standing between, Lex Luthor and world dominance, which in the movie comes in the form of population control. So there's this war between these two fictional countries, okay? Well, one of them is a country, the other one, I'm going to read something for y'all in just a minute, because we're going to get into that, because what I learned today when I was doing a little bit of research after rewatching the movie is that when this movie dropped, there's a certain nation on the planet that I like to call 1948 state that has a lobby that was not happy with the messages that were released in this movie, okay? I just learned that today. I'm going to read an article from last year for y'all. Short, not too long. Anyway, Superman's the only one standing between Boravia and Superman's the only one standing between Lex Luthor and world domination. Okay. Next, this country called Boravia is at war against this other country called, or they're trying to go to war with this country called Jaranpur or Jaranpur or something like that. They try to make it sound Indian / Pakistani or Hindu or something like that. And Boravia, they try to make it sound Slavic. But when you're looking at the movie, it screams. Let me not get too far away from my notes, okay? In this war that Superman, or this conflict that Superman prevents from going into a full-scale war, because if Boravia invades Jaranpur, it's going to be a bloodbath, and they're going to annihilate them and own the country in a day or two, because they got a standing military, and Jaranpur is they're just people that have slingshots and rocks and garden tools to defend themselves. Boravia is the aggressor and is militarily superior to the poor people of Jaranpur. The whole thing gives or screams 1948 states IDF versus unarmed Palestinians. It screams that. You look at it for yourself. It screams that. I'm not saying that. And if it doesn't scream that, why then did we get this backlash from a certain lobby? And I'm going to read that in just a moment, okay? Next, they gave Boravia's president a Russian or Slavic accent to try to throw the viewers off the scent. But y'all know good and damn well that was a low-key reference to Beanie Man, Nettin Faking Jew. Okay? Benjamin Nettin Faking Jew. Or Beanie Man, Nettin Faking Jew. Why do I call him Nettin Faking Jew? Because Netanyahu is not his familial name. It's Milikowski or something like that. That's why I call him Benjamin or Beanie Man, Nettin Faking Jew. All right? So, let me bring up this article from Times of India from last year. I want to show y'all this, okay? Let me copy this link. Let's put it on the screen. And let's go here with it. Let's put it in the Chrome tab. Okay. And let's share it. Let me check these. Let me check this really quick. Oh, y'all got some comments over here. All right. Let me read this article and then I'll come back to the comments. Let me read this article first. Y'all hot over there today. I appreciate the interaction. Let's see. All right. Here we go. This is from Times of India. All right. And let me make sure y'all can see this on the screen. All right. So we're good. Times of India explained. This is from July 15th. So it's about a year old. July 15th, 2025. Explained why critics say new Superman movie is anti-Israel, decoding the politics of the James Gunn film. All right. Let's take a look. All right. Superman sparks backlash. The new Superman film is accused of portraying Israel negatively through allegorical storytelling. I can see that. I mean, I can see why they had a problem with it. Just to be in the middle, I can see why they had a problem with it. Fictional war, real parallels. Viewers say the fictional conflict between Boravia and Jaranpur mirrors the Israel-Gaza war. Filmmakers deny intent. Director James Gunn insists no real-world countries were referenced, but critics aren't convinced. I told y'all they hide stuff in here. Now, why do they be going after the director? The director's not the writer. I guess because you're the director and your name's on it, you're going to catch the backlash. But the director's not the writer. He's just saying, and cut, right? Or he's telling them, now I need this scene to look a little more like that. Y'all, as a quick aside, years ago, I was part of a community theater troupe in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we had to do, I auditioned. I went to audition for a spot in Smokey Joe's Cafe. Okay. They were doing an off-Broadway rendition of Smokey Joe's Cafe. And I had the lowest voice of all of the people that auditioned because, you know, this is like Broadway style. So they're singing and choreography and that sort of thing. And so even though I'm not a full bass, my baritone could get low enough to sing the parts. So I got the baritone spot. Now, the interesting thing is there's a song in there, You're the Boss, okay? When it comes to rocking and natural finger popping, baby. That little scene where they're at the nightclub or whatever, there's a male and a female. How about the director? Now, we're just supposed to, now I was with another group, community chorus that did the same number in a medley, and they just sang it. And at the end of the song, the male and the female look at each other and smile, and they just kind of hug head to head, and that's the end of it. So I'm thinking it's going to be the same thing. How about the director said, I need y'all to kiss? I was like, kiss? Nah, we ain't about to do that. He's like, yeah. No, he said it's the only way it's going to be authentic. I was like, nah, I can't get with you. He said, you don't have to. He said, I'm not telling you to swap tongues or anything like that. He said, just, you know, a kiss. I said, oh, you talking about a stage kiss where you lean your head over and it looks like you're kissing, but you're kissing the person on their chin right here? He said, no, I want the audience to see lips. I said, damn. So I'm like, fuck it. All right, whatever. But it was the worst experience of my life. No disrespect. She probably don't watch my channel, but yeah, this actress, this cast member, this group member, she smoked cigarettes and anyway, I don't know why I went there. Directors. That was a director. I went way off. I took you all the way down around the block to get to the house next door. Let's come back. All right. Why did they go after the director? He's just directing. Okay. He didn't write the movie. I don't know why they didn't go after the writers, but it is what it is. So social media erupts. Posts praising the film's perceived pro-Palestinian message have gone viral. All right. So all of this happened a year ago. The allegory at the center of the controversy. James Gunn's much anticipated Superman reboot is drawing unexpected fire, not for its plot, but for its perceived politics. The film introduces a fictional border conflict between two countries, Boravia, a wealthy, militarized state supported by the U.S., and Jaranpur, a poorer neighboring nation whose civilians face repeated airstrikes and forced displacement. To many critics and viewers, the imagery is unmistakable. Boravia resembles Israel, Jaranpur, Palestine. The moral framing of the conflict, military might versus civilian suffering, has ignited a firestorm online, especially as the film arrives amid ongoing real-world violence in Gaza. what audiences are saying. Across social media, audiences have been calling the film openly anti-Israel, with posts like, y'all were not kidding about how anti-Israel and pro-Palestine that Superman movie was. They were not slick with it at all. Others have praised the film for taking a stand in what they see as a David versus Goliath morality tale. In particular, the film's refugee camp scenes and its depiction of white-suited Baravian soldiers firing on fleeing civilians has led to fierce comparisons with IDF footage from Gaza. Why y'all mad if y'all did it? That's all I'm saying. Why y'all mad when they got real world footage of y'all doing the same thing? Anyway, Arab media outlets from Dawn to the New Arab have amplified these readings, while pro-Israel commentators have condemned the film as propaganda. Enough of that, okay? So I wanted y'all to see that. But now the interesting thing is, there's not a whole lot of that in the movie. I mean, you see it, pronounced at the beginning and then again at the end. So I don't know why they got all in a tizzy about that. Anyway, let me check some comments, y'all, and I'm gonna get back on my nuggets here. So let's see what y'all are talking about over here. Let's see. Wow, y'all, okay. Let me get caught up. Walu said their doomsday plans will fail if we come together. It's hard waking people up and figuring out what to do to start a revolution and change the world, though. That's a good point. That is a very good point. Okay, Commander Cisco said Jamaican born. Okay, all right, Commander. All right, big up to you. Big up to you, Commander. Walu Clippy, I get plenty of sunlight and do not use too much sunscreen because I don't know if we need that much, really. I stopped using sunscreen a long time ago. I stopped using it a long time ago. I put some shea butter on and go out there and do my business. It's like trying to cook a piece of meat that doesn't have fat on it in a hot cast iron skillet. It's going to burn. But if you put some fat in it, then you're going to be all right. So to me, the fat is I put some fat on, which is the shea butter. I'm gonna get dark anyway. I'm not putting sunscreen on because I want to get dark. I love the change in my skin tone between the seasons. Okay, that's a part of it. So I love that. But the sunscreen, I'm hearing sunscreen has so many things in it that absorb into your skin that cause issues. Okay, more so than if you didn't even wear it. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. Now, of course, if you any damage to your skin from getting burned is going to cause issues too. But there's other ways to prevent yourself from getting burned. Another thing that I do sometimes, if I'm going to be playing in a tennis tournament or something in the middle of the summer, I know it's going to be hot. I'll get some zinc oxide and just put it on the bony prominences. I'll put it on my nose, put some on my shoulders if I got a tank top on, and I'll go on about my business. So, matter of fact, I'll just put a mask with the zinc oxide on it, and it's fine. It's fine. No sunscreen. Anyway, the people in the hospital closest to the window usually recover faster. That's a great point. They used to have hospital beds outside long ago, from what I found out. Wow, that's a great point, Walu. I found it interesting that it took a dose of yellow sun to heal Superman, but the sun has turned white over time. Yeah, it's burning white hot right now. It is, Bernadette. It is. Yes, Mullane for that COV thing. I stopped sunscreen a long time ago. I use nothing or carrot oil. See, you got it. You got it. Oil. And if you go look up at what the applied sunscreen looks like under black light, then you know the melanated person has natural protection. Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. I learned so much from y'all in these comments. That's why I read them. Right now, I remember the yellow sun as a child. Yep. I remember the yellow sun from like 6 years ago. All right. It's getting hotter and hotter. Our bodies aren't really made to be indoors with air conditioning and artificial light. That is so true. Ice ring encircling all the continents, the ones we are told exist at least. Walu, I saw a documentary years ago where in the 1800s, some naval guy or whatever sailed a ship to Antarctica, and once they got to the edge of the ice, he made either a left or a right turn, and because they wanted to map it. So according to what they teach us in school, if you're sailing due south and you hit Antarctica and turn your ship right, then you're going to at that point be in a perpetual left turn until you come back to your original point and then sail back north. He turns the ship right and stays in a right turn. He stays in the right turn. That was documented. I forgot where I saw that, but that was one of those documentaries back that I saw back before they started scrubbing FE information from off the internet, and especially from YouTube. So there was a guy named Eric Dubé that put out a lot of good videos back then. I haven't seen anything in years, so I don't know what he's doing anymore, but that's a good point. That's a good point, Walu. Commander Cisco said, I go with one. Wallow said, Matt, do you believe in secret continents beyond the ice wall they are keeping from us? Listen, I'm open to anything, to be honest with you, because all they do is lie. How can you say, well, they're telling the truth about this thing, but how can you say, well, they lied about this and they're not? Once somebody lies to you one time, it really makes you start looking at everything they told you. So that's how I look at it. Don't lie, because then everything you say gets scrutinized. Worlds Beyond. Admiral Byrd. Yep. Admiral Richard Byrd. Senator J said, they're studying us for sure. The arch is a Stargate. Walu said, are we going to discuss FE and the firmament and dome? I showed a video in one of my lives some weeks back, or maybe a couple of months back, where the amateur rocket team sent a rocket up with a GoPro camera on it, and what happened with that. Y'all go look that up. Go look up, go do a search on amateur rocket hits the firmament, or amateur rocket hits the dome. Seeing is believing. Okay. Are you too off topic? Not too off topic. Says, anyways, in Logan's Run, they live in a dome society, and we're told there's nothing beyond it outside. When the characters are escaping, they enter an ice cave with a robot that almost freezes them. Wow. Green tambourine. That's hilarious. I think I know why you did that. That's probably reference to that director. Anyway, there I could go on about Logan's Run. I got to check that out. It's a cool 70s sci-fi flick. It's really another Gnosticism allegory, though. What's your view on Gnosticism, Matt? Now we off topic because I want to keep it about Superman. But thanks anyway for asking, Walu. Let me get back to my notes. Okay, so now let's talk about the relationship between Boravia and or what the president says, what the president of Boravia says with his fake Slavic accent, okay, looking like Albert Einstein. I'm like, y'all couldn't make him look better. Anyway, he says, I'm doing a Beanie Man's voice. The relationship between Boravia and the U.S. has been like iron for 30 years. All right, that's what he says in there. That's another metaphor for the relationship. Or I asked the question in my notes, is that another metaphor for the relationship between the U.S. and 1948 state? Y'all tell me. The president comes on because they're accusing him of picking on these people from Jaranpur, and he says the relationship between Boravia and the U.S. has been like iron for 30 years. Do they say 30 years to throw you off? Because it goes back further than 30 years. All right, 30 years ago was just 1996. It goes back further than that. I think they do that to throw you off. So that was another nugget I picked out of there. The relationship between the U.S. and Boravia has been like iron for 30 years. Next, Ultraman. Ultraman was created to defeat Superman, but we later find out that he's a clone of Superman whose abilities are enhanced by nanoscopic technology and artificial intelligence. Clone. So they drop in another nugget in there. We find out at the end that this Ultraman. Now, what other movie did we see that in? Gemini Man, the Will Smith movie, Gemini Man. Okay. So they showing you some of this stuff that's happening. Okay. Ultraman was created to defeat Superman, and he is whooping Superman behind something wicked. And we find out later, when the mask comes off, Superman sees himself looking at himself. All right. I'm going to get to the quote that Lex Luthor says at the end there in that final fight scene in just a little bit. Okay. Next, the engineer who designed Ultraman is a normal human whose blood was infused with microscopic machines called nanites. Where else do we see that? Anybody else have an Apple TV Plus subscription? You seen that show Foundation? Nanites. They're putting this stuff in people's blood, and the movie is showing us this. Why would you make that up? Like, you can't pull that out of your ass. Why would you make that up? Okay. Luthor created a powerful private army called Planet Watch. I told y'all they watching people. They looking for people with certain gifts. Luthor created a powerful private army called Planet Watch, who, among other things, exists to check these so-called metahumans who are ordinary people born with supernatural gifts. And he's trying to sell the services of Planet Watch to the government. How about that? Private armies, private militaries with their own budgets, backed by these billionaire tech heads. People keep saying, why won't they bring Bill Gates to justice? You don't think Bill Gates, with all that money, ain't got a private army? I wouldn't bet against it. I wouldn't bet against it. Anyway, next. Superman believes that he was sent to Earth as a child to help protect and save humanity. He believes that he was sent to Earth as a child to help protect and save humanity. That's what he thinks. He knows he's Superman. He knows he's not from this world. Okay? He believes he was sent here to help protect and save humanity. Some of y'all feel out of place on this planet. Okay? A lot of y'all been feeling out of place since you were little. Make the connection. Okay? Next. Well, let me reread that. Superman believes that he was sent to Earth as a child to help protect and save humanity. However, after Luthor's people find and breach Superman's lair to make sure that Superman doesn't come back and find them there, they release a biological distraction that starts small and gets bigger. Okay? I threw however in there. There's something else that happens. Okay? Did I put it in my notes? Okay, it's out of order, but it's okay. Yeah, it's out of order. It's out of order. I'll come back to it. Okay. They've engaged, they're not invaded. They have broken into Superman's lair. Okay. And they're looking for stuff. They're wrecking shop, but they're looking for stuff too. Now, while they're in there, to make sure that he doesn't come back and catch them in there, they release a biological distraction that starts small and gets bigger. The guys that deliver it, that are given the order to back a van up in a city and let this thing out, they make the comment, that looks pretty small for a distraction. The other guy says, oh, don't worry, it gets bigger. Okay? That sound like Wuhan to y'all? Anybody? That sound like 2020 Wuhan to anybody, or 2019 Wuhan? Just saying, starts small, but gets bigger. And it's a biological distraction. Now, it's not a disease, but it is still, it's still a living thing. It's this creature that's really small and gets bigger. I labeled it a biological distraction. It starts small and gets bigger. Okay. There's some symbolism in there. We haven't seen a skyscraper-sized monster walking around the earth wrecking shop in different cities. So there's some symbolism there. You got to have eyes to see it and ears to hear it. This distraction was designed to keep Superman busy while they continue doing their dirt. Distraction was designed to keep Superman busy while they kept doing their dirt behind the scenes. Look over here. Oh, look at this thing that's happening. Look at this outbreak. Let's go over here and do this while they're looking at that. Or the ones who can catch us, they're too occupied looking at this thing right here. So now they're not watching us. Let's go do our thing. As long as light workers allow themselves to remain distracted by the matrix issues, they are not using their God-given gifts to check the workers of iniquity. Don't think that they ain't trying to listen. Look at how many references to biological or injectable technology that have already been dropped in the movie at this point. Okay. Injectable technology, it's already got people that don't have the gifts, but people that got these super DNA gifts. Why do you have a DNA altering tech that you are injecting in the movie? Okay. Perhaps somebody wants to turn off somebody's DNA that has these supernatural gifts. Y'all pay attention. Y'all pay attention. Okay. So as long as they're distracted, they can't use their gifts to check the workers of iniquity or the workers of inequity or the workers of imbalance. They can't use those God-given gifts to keep them in check. Next, the Justice Gang, aka Justice League, they show up to help Superman. The Justice Gang shows up to help Superman. I labeled them Earth Angels, okay? They were created by Lore Tech Industries. So again, there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at these members of the Justice Gang as Earth Angels, if you want to look at them from a supernatural perspective, or if you want to look at them from a more earthly perspective. In the movie, they were created by the Justice Gang was created. The things that they use were created by Lore Tech Industries. Okay, Lore Tech Industries. So again, what do we see? We've got Luthor. We've got Luthor Corps, Lex Luthor's defense, multinational defense corporation, but opposing him is he's in the darkness, they're in the light. Lore Tech, they've got something equal and opposite that they're using to try to do good in the earth. Hollywood does a lot of, with their writing and the stuff and the low vibrational stuff that they put out. But guess what? There's other writers of the light in the same realm in Hollywood putting out things that are hidden messages in some of these movies that are disguised as entertainment. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. You got to watch it. So many parallels there, y'all. Next, the way they bring down this biological distraction that started small and blew up to a skyscraper-sized monster was by implanting nanoscopic bots into its body. They shot him, Mr. Terrific shot them into the monster's mouth, okay? And then because they're nanoscopic, he can look at them with this X-ray thing and watch them going down his esophagus and into his stomach. And once they get anchored into his belly, he sends a frequency that detonates the nanobites that this monster swallowed. And that's how they kill this monster. What are you showing us there, writers? What are you showing us? Are some of these people, y'all know what to do with that. Y'all know what to do with it. Listen. I'm gonna bring the food out the kitchen and put it on the table. I ain't gonna feed it to you. All right. You got to eat it yourself. Here we go. Here's the food. Here are the utensils. Go ahead and eat. I'm not gonna feed it to you. All right. I'll bring it. I'll cook it. I'll bring it out. I'll serve it. I'm not gonna feed it to you too. What are they saying? What are they saying? Injected, or they shot nanobots into them. They went into vital organs, and then they send a frequency that detonates. Now on the outside, you don't see an explosion. You just see this monster keeling over dead. I'm gonna sip some tea on that one. Next. Okay, next. When Luthor's people salvaged and pieced together the original parts of the video from Superman's biological parents, the video where that's in his lair that's damaged, but he always only sees the part where they're saying, hey, we love you, son, blase, blase, blah. Okay, the loving message from his parents. When they salvaged and pieced together the original parts of the video with the parts that were damaged that Superman never got to see, he uses the full message to discredit Superman, because we find out that his parents have sent him to Earth to do something very different than what he's doing. He grew up believing that he was sent here to do what it is that he's doing, because he didn't get the whole message. Pardon me, I hope y'all didn't hear that. What Matt calls that is divine intervention, okay? What did they used to say in the church back in the day? What the devil meant for evil, God turned into good, okay? What the devil meant for bad, God used for good. Y'all watch the movie if you haven't seen it, okay? All right? So, and they do the authenticity. We as a fan, you're watching like, okay, he had to lie on that and manipulate that video, and everybody's agreeing. The bad guys and the good guys agree that this is authentic video that has not been doctored. So, anyway, that's very interesting. So they use what they found to discredit him. What do they do during these elections, right? Oh, you love this candidate too much. What they gonna do? They gonna go back and pull some dirt and do that to try to sully your image, okay? That's just one example. There's other examples out there, but I thought that was very interesting because they show you what people do, how they use information as a weapon. Next, let's see. The interesting part. Oh, here's the part. This was the part that was damaged that got recovered and put back into the whole video. The interesting part of the message from Superman's parents to him was, and I put this in quotes, the people there They're talking about Earth, this new, lush, and fertile planet. Okay, that's me putting that in brackets. They didn't say that. The people there, referencing Earth, are simple and profoundly confused, weak of mind, spirit, and body. Lord over the planet as the last son of Krypton. Dispatch anyone unwilling or unable to serve you. Take as many wives as you can so your genes and Krypton's might and legacy will live on in this new frontier. Does that sound familiar, y'all? Does that sound familiar? Go look at some of those ancient writings of what the European explorers said about the local indigenous copper toned, nappy head, curly, kinky, coily hair, wavy hair, whatever people that lived here that had copper toned skin. Okay. Go read what some of these explorers wrote about them. Oh my gosh, they're so docile. They're like babies. They just invited us right in. They gave us some of their land. They gave us food. They're not aggressive at all. Let me read again what his people said. The people there are simple and profoundly confused, weak of mind, spirit, and body. Lord over the planet as the last son of Krypton. Dispatch of anyone unwilling or unable to serve you. Dispatch. Y'all know what dispatch means. Unalive. Unalive anyone unwilling or unable to serve you. Take as many wives as you can so your genes and Krypton's might, power, and legacy will live on in this new frontier. Europe was getting a little overcrowded, wasn't it? Europe was getting a little overcrowded. They needed to go find some new frontier, some lush lands, okay? There's more to it than that. We know that when the so-called Moors were defeated on the Iberian Peninsula, okay? On the Iberian Peninsula, I just saw an interesting, somebody did an interesting breakdown of the meaning of Iberian. Igbo. They tied Iberian to Igbo, which is another way of saying Hebrew. Igbo, Hebrew, Igbo, Ibo, Iberian Peninsula. Why was it called the Iberian Peninsula? See, that was the interesting piece I just saw maybe a day or two ago. But when the so-called Moors were defeated in 1492, y'all know what they do. They get them books. They find out. I told you, information is always worth more than gold. When a civilization is defeated, the information is the most priceless thing there. What do these people know that we don't know? Everybody knows gold. Everybody knows what money looks like. Yeah, we want money. We want riches. But why did it take us some, 711 AD to 1490? Why did it take us some 700 years to defeat these people? What do they know that we don't know? Go get the books. Let's get the books. Let's find the information. Oh, wait a minute. There's more of their kind across the ocean? Wait a minute. You can sail outside of the Strait of Gibraltar and come back and not die? You're not going to fall off the edge of the earth? Well, let's go send somebody looking for them. So let's send Christopher Columbus with a Hebrew-speaking Negro to serve as a translator on his maiden voyage to the New World. Y'all better read some of these books that you ain't gonna find in the K-12 classroom. Anyway, the people there are simple and profoundly confused, weak of mind, spirit, and body. Lord over the planet, rule over them, as the last son of Krypton. Dispatch anyone unwilling or unable to serve you. Take as many wives as you can so your genes and Krypton's might and legacy will live on in this new frontier. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? What did the ancient Babylonians, Greeks, and Romans and modern-day colonizers all do in recent history and throughout history? They go, they invade, they went, they go, they invade, they kill the men who are old, feeble, or young. Okay? They kill the men who are old, feeble, or too young, or strong and resistant, along with the feeble or unattractive women. And then they take and make babies with the women that they choose. They get all the hotties, all the baddies, the ones who are smart, the ones who are strong-bodied, beautiful, impregnate them. Okay, what is that? And what does that allow them to do? They killed the men. Any men who resisted were killed. If they were young and they were able-bodied, but they were like, hey, I don't want to fight. Okay, good. You're going to be a slave or you're going to be a soldier in my military. Okay, well, we'll do that, whatever. Now you've just subjugated a whole land. And impregnate as many women as you choose. Why? So now you're making babies and now your seed is being replicated in a new land. Okay? So that you take over the land and you extend this new land becomes an extension of your homeland along with its policies. Okay? That's that why did they put that in there? They wanted you to see how the playbook works. They wanted you to see that. Alexander the Great weaponized graping, okay? Graping. Alexander the Great weaponized it. He weaponized it. He weaponized it. What do? Once they do this, they put their institutions and rules in place that say, hey, you can't do this. You can't do this. One man to one woman, okay? That's the rules. God said it. Show me where. Show me where. Why do y'all think Henry VIII killed all his wives? Because when he wanted a new one, the Pope said, nope, can't have a new one. To death do us part. He's like, okay, that's easy. Hey, I don't have it no more. What if he didn't believe that lie that was told him about the way things really work? What if he didn't believe it? He wouldn't have had to unalive none of them. Okay? But it also would have made him more responsible too. Anyway, that's a story for another day. I don't want to sound dogmatic because I've seen and heard of people that didn't like some of the content that I put out with regards to things when I was just simply answering a question that was presented to me on social media. So I gave my unadulterated opinion, and there were some people that didn't like that. So I'm not gonna go too far down. Now I'm not saying it because I really don't care, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be. I'm original. My story don't change, okay? Unless I change it. All right. Unless I see the light. I've seen the light. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So that's what they did. That's what they did. Why was Superman commanded to do that? Why? Because some people understand how things work. Some people understand how things work. Now, I'm gonna get on to why Superman ultimately didn't end up doing that. First of all, he didn't grow up with that part of the message. He never saw it. Okay, he only saw the loving part. Oh, my parents loved me, and then the rest of the message was damaged. So he didn't get to see what he was really sent to Earth for. But they used that against him. Next, so because now everybody hates Superman, Superman turns himself in. He goes to turn himself into the local authorities. But the local authorities say, man, now you know good and well we can't subdue you, Superman. But we're going to send Planet Watch in here because they can. So Planet Watch comes in and they subdue Superman. They bind him. They fly him away to a military base. And then they carry him into this portal. And through a void, he goes into this portal, this technology portal, and through a void that Lex Luthor calls a pocket universe, which was created by using a mega collider, is what they call it in the film, a mega collider to tear a tiny hole between the two universal fabrics so that he can access or these two universal. So they use this mega collider to tear a hole between the two universal fabrics that he can access via a number of dimensional portals that he's placed all around the world. So he's placed portals in different locations around the world that allow him to go through this pocket universe that was created by this particle collider. Okay? Mega collider. Can you say CERN? Can you say the large, what do they call it? The large Hardon or Haldon collider or something like that? Can you say CERN and wormholes? What are they really doing with CERN? Well, we're looking into dark matter. Are you looking into dark matter, or are you building portals that allow you to go from one part of the Earth to another quickly? Or are you experimenting with that technology? Why did they put that in the film? Why did they put that in the film, y'all? Next, Lex Luthor builds a secret prison inside the void or pocket universe to trap and hide away these metahumans. Secret prison, a way where nobody can see it. It's inside this pocket universe that is accessed via these portals that he can use to trap and hide away these metahumans so they're not running around the Earth doing whatever they were put on the Earth to do and with the tools that they were given before birth. What other series did we see that in, y'all? Did anybody see that series, Supercell, on Netflix? Remember what they were doing with these people that had these gifts? What were they doing with them? Same theme, y'all. If you see it once in a film, you don't see it anywhere else, it's a one-off. When you see it in 2 or more films, it's a pattern. You got to start asking questions. Why? Next, Lex Luthor has a mole inside his own organization, and it's a female. And this female despises his arrogance and the evil that's within him. Okay? So Lex Luthor has a female who's his girlfriend, basically. Beautiful, too. Lex Luthor has a girlfriend that ends up being a mole. And she despises his arrogance and the evil that's in him. This is why she's collecting information. Damn, that almost sounds like Melinda Gates, doesn't it? Did I say that? Maybe Melinda didn't drop the dimes on Bill G that this girl in this movie dropped on Lex Luthor, but she sure did get the heck up out of Dodge, didn't she? When she started learning about the alleged activities of her husband on a certain island with a certain individual. She's like, nah, Bill, we good. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and take this divorce, and I'm gonna take this many billions of dollars, and we good. You go do your thing. I'm out. Deuces. Now, this mole, his girlfriend, she leaks to a Daily Planet journalist the fact that Superman is being held in his pocket universe. She leaks the information to a Daily Planet journalist who's a guy that she's got a major crush on. And y'all, the thing that tripped me out in the movie is she is a certified baddie. The dude looked like he'd be lucky to get a date from a 5 out of 10. He'd be lucky to get a date from a 5 out of 10. This chick is a 10 out of 10, and he trying to play her to the left. I was like, come on, really? Come on, dude. Come on. You ain't gonna never get nobody look like that, and you doing it like that. Go sit down. Boy, go sit down. Anyway, so she's the one, she's leaking the story to a Daily Planet journalist that she's got a crush on. Okay? Now, next, Superman would have perhaps, wait, let me pause. Let me not back up, because I need to tell you, I'm not just putting this stuff in here to put it in there. Why am I telling you this? Proverbs 26 and 27. Whoso diggeth the pit shall fall therein, and he that rolls a stone, it's going to roll back on him. Okay? How does that happen? I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. See, he's wicked and he's evil. I'm going to give you a preview now. He's wicked and he's evil, and he's so arrogant that he's treating the people that's trying to show him some type of affection. He's treating her like she's just a commodity. He's treating her like, okay, she just arm candy or whatever. She makes him look good because she looks good, but he's treating her like she got no brain. Meanwhile, she's extremely intelligent, and she's collecting information and sending it to this other guy. So Luthor is already set up. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come to that at the end. Next, Superman would probably have been lost forever had it not been for the Justice League's Mr. Terrific, who was able to track down the location of the portal that Superman was carried to via GPS nano trackers that he placed into Superman's bloodstream. GPS nano trackers. This is how he finds out where Superman is to save his life. GPS nano trackers that he puts into Superman's bloodstream. Why did they want y'all to see that? Why? Was that entertainment or was that information? Okay. Some of y'all might want to adopt or start doing quarterly heavy metal detoxes, which a lot of naturopaths and holistic healers suggest work by ingesting chelation herbs. What do chelation herbs do? They bind heavy metals to themselves so that they can then be flushed out of the bloodstream via your urine, sweat, or your stool. Look into heavy metal detoxes. Look into them. Some of y'all might want to pick that up. Because even if you didn't take the jab, they dropping them little nanofibers out of planes all the time. Look into doing heavy metal detoxes. Okay? Why did they put that in the film? He tracks Superman's last location because he has GPS nano trackers in his bloodstream. Next, when Lois Lane acted surprised, she's talking to Mr. Terrific. She's like, "You put nanobots in your friend's bloodstream?" What does he say? He says, "No big deal. I do that to everybody." I do that to everybody. Why did they write that in there? She says to him, shocked as heck. You put nanoscopic technology, you put nanobots in your friend's bloodstream? Mr. Terrific, who's from a, organization, he works for an organization, he says, I do that to everybody. Does everybody have nanotech in their bodies now? I better go back and look at some of them early episodes of The Walking Dead. What did Rick say when they went to the CDC looking for help? He said, we all got it in us. Now, I don't know if I got it in me or not, but I do these detoxes on a regular basis. Some of y'all might want to look into doing heavy metal detoxes, okay? Yeah. Next, okay? Where am I? Yeah, he said I do that to everybody. Ain't that the Matrix plan already? Next, as is always the case, the wickedness and lack of balance, along with arrogance and pride of the dark side leadership, ends up being their downfall. Here's where I get back into the girlfriend, okay? And the others. When Lex Luthor unalives an innocent prisoner in front of the one person who could actually help Superman, who's the one who's hurting him because he can turn into kryptonite. When Lex Luthor, remember, let me back it up. As is always the case, the wickedness and lack of balance, along with arrogance and pride of dark side leadership, always ends up being their downfall. When Luthor unalives an innocent prisoner in front of the one person who actually could help Superman, that one man who had a heart but was afraid of Luthor got together the nerve to help Superman. Okay? He got the nerve to help Superman. Now, the interesting thing about this man is he's the one man that also has the power to hold Superman in position. These darn little gnats this year, y'all. I tell you what. Anyway, he's the one man that has the ability to keep Superman in that prison because he can turn into kryptonite or turn parts of his body into kryptonite. So Superman can't go nowhere. Luthor tricks and Superman into this cell with this being, and now Superman can't go anywhere because the dude Luthor tells him to turn on his kryptonite, and he points across the way and shows him his kid. So this half human, half monster thingy or whatever, this metahuman that's got the ability to turn into kryptonite or turn it into anything he wants. He can literally turn into anything in the universe or make his body turn into anything in the universe. Luthor has his son, and he's like, if you don't do what I'm going to do, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to kill your son right in front of you. So the dude is scared of Luthor for his son's sake, and he can't get out of this little prison that he's in. Superman's the only one that has the power to break out of there, but he's got him in the cube with this man that's got kryptonite on him. But again, that arrogance and that wickedness, we find out that creature actually has a heart, and the only reason he's doing this stuff is he wants his son. He doesn't want his son to get killed in front of him. And his son's a baby. He's like this big. He doesn't want him to get killed in front of him. So he does whatever Luthor wants him to do. But when he kills this innocent man in front of him, the dude starts crying. Okay? Superman asked him one time, he said, man, listen, I can break us out of here. Dude's like, shut up. I told you, shut up. He amplifies the kryptonite and weakens Superman almost to the point of death. But when he shot and killed that innocent man in front of him, that dude said, man, this man's crazy. I'm doing this. I'm working with the wrong man. So he's like, you sure you can get us out of here? Superman's, yeah. He's like, yeah, but I can't do nothing now. You don't put this kryptonite on me, and the only way I get my power back is by exposure to sunlight. So the dude says, I can't create a sun. But he said, maybe I can create an artificial sun that he says, I know how to work with the elements that the sun shoots off. So let me create an artificial sun and shoot off these elements so that you can soak them up. And that's how Superman gets his power back and breaks them out of this prison. Okay? So, but here's what's funny. In that same scene, the sheeple end up trying to tell on Superman and his helper, this being. And what does that show us? That shows us that the dark side relies on the crabs in a bucket form of Stockholm syndrome to keep everybody in check. There's not enough workers of iniquity in the earth to control the whole earth. What do? They find the low vibrational ones and use them to fight against the high vibrational ones. That's how it always works. It's the crabs in a bucket, Stockholm syndrome. That's what it is. Okay. Next, Mr. Terrific, which is this is interesting. He's the only brother that's a metahuman in the movie. Mr. Terrific. He's the only metahuman that's a brother. He took on the whole unit of Planet Watch soldiers by himself and beat them by himself. Does that remind you of The Jedi? How about the ancient high-frequency Israelite warriors? Notice I spotlight high frequency because when the Israelites fell into low frequency vibrations, they lost their powers. Why did they lose their powers? Because the Most High said, I'm not giving them to you. I'm not going to shine the light on you. I'm not going to shine the sun on you. I'm not going to send these solar rays on your DNA to activate and keep these powers charged up. I'm going to turn my back on you. I'm going to turn this off because y'all don't know how to act. Y'all out here wilding out. If I let y'all keep with this power, you're going to start destroying the earth just like they want you to. So I'm going to turn it off. But it's interesting, though, that Mr. Terrific is the only metahuman that's a brother, and he takes on a whole unit of Planet Watch super soldiers and beats them by himself. Very interesting. I think somebody wanted y'all to see that. Okay, next. One of my favorite scenes is when Superman goes back to his earthly parents' home to recover from, this is after he gets out of he finally gets away from that prison. They make it out of that portal before it collapses, and they're like, hey, Superman, we need you healed. So they fly him back to his home in Kansas or wherever he's from, wherever, and to his parents' his earthly parents' home, and so that he can recover. And in this scene, Superman is outside, he's eating breakfast or whatever, and he's visibly upset. Okay, why? Because he's thinking about the revelation of the missing half of his biological parents' message to him and what that did to his image, what that character assassination that they did using that. But here's what I love. Here's what I love. And I almost got a little choked up on this scene. His old man comes out and he sits down next to him and they're talking. And Superman, you know, he tells the old man, he says, I'm not who I thought I was. He proceeds to tell him that his parents sent him to Earth to hurt people. The old man looks at Superman and he says, son, he says, it's your choices and your actions that make you a person. It's your choices and your actions that make you the person you are, not who somebody tells you you are. And I was like, you know what, man? That was a very profound piece of writing. It is your choices and your actions that make you who you are, not somebody telling you who you are. I have that conversation with elder members of my family all the time. I'm like, you know what? I may have some of your characteristics. I may look like you, but we move different. We move very different. Now, y'all been watching me for years. I tie it back to your natal chart astrology. You still got decisions you got to make. There's high vibrational aspects of every sign and low vibrational aspects of every sign. Every sign's got a high vibrational expression and a low vibrational expression. So ultimately, it is your decisions and your actions that are either high frequency or low frequency, but still, your natal chart energies are unique just in their combination and to make you who you are, whatever. But I just thought that was very beautiful that his old man told him. He said, it is your choices and your actions that make you who you are. So don't listen to somebody saying, Commander, this is who you are. Or Walu Clippy, this is who you are. Lady Dagger Status, this is who you are. Asceno J, this is who you are. No. You are the sum of your decisions, your actions, the things that you do, the choices that you make. Okay? So, next. Let's see. The old man also he tells Superman it's his choices and actions that make a person who they are, not what somebody tells them who they are, or not who somebody tells them they are, or what they tell them they are. Next, Lex Luthor's girlfriend exposes who he really is and why he is fomenting an invasion of Joranpur. So she reveals it. She exposes them. She exposes that Luthor is the one behind all the bots, because in the scene they got these bots that are posting fake social media posts about Superman, and they're rolling them out like nobody's business, like a freaking assembly line. They're rolling out these messages. So they expose to you that a lot of these messages that we see in social media, X post, Facebook, blase, blah. A lot of these, even some of these news articles we read, a lot of these are computer bots. They're not even written by people. They showed you that in the movie. Unbelievable, y'all. All this stuff they're showing you. Okay, next. So she exposes that these there are bots that are posting these fake social media posts about Superman. She exposes that Luthor is the one behind all the wars in the region and around the world. So she says Luthor and Luthor Corp is the one that's in this fictitious region that we know is the Middle East. And if you're looking at it with your third eye, you know it's the Middle East. She says that Lex Luthor, who's the head of Luthor Corp, which is a multinational defense corporation, she says he's the one that's behind all the wars in the region. And she's showing the evidence. Why? Why is he behind the wars around the world and in that region? It's because he is promised a very valuable piece of real estate, which is rich with powerful minerals and the types of resources that he can use to continue to develop and further solidify his technocratic rulership of the planet. Y'all, I'm telling you, they were cooking with these messages in this movie. Next, one of the final battles of the movie takes place in a baseball stadium. What does that symbolism allude to? The ancient Roman Colosseum and the gladiators, okay? Next, what do we see that Luthor really is at the end of the day? This is parallel this with real life. Luthor is this little punk ass rich technology nut who at the end of the day can't even fight. He can't fight. He can't even use his hands. Well, so what does he do? He hires and manages warriors to fight for him. So typical. So typical. You got all these people fighting, these strong men and women around the world fighting and killing and using their intelligence to fight against each other on behalf of some dudes that can't even box. If you put them in a boxing ring with some boxing gloves on, they probably be hitting each other like this. Stop hitting me. Stop it. They can't even fight, but they send real fighters to kill each other for their agenda. They show you this in the movie, okay? So typical. Next, there's a quote in there because Luthor sends Ultraman at Superman, okay? He sends him at Superman, and this is where we find out that Ultraman is a clone of Superman. So in the final battle between Superman and Ultraman, Luthor says, because he's watching this whole thing via his drones, his AI drones, and he's got all kind of technology hooked up so he can tell this Ultraman which combinations to use on Superman, and he can see what's going on via these different cameras. Pardon me. So there's a quote. He says, "As often as is the case with clones, they're stupider but stronger. As often as is the case with clones, they're stupider but stronger." What are clones? They're artificial humans. Artificial humans, not real. Yeah, they got real flesh and blood, but they're artificial humans because they were created by humans, not in the natural way. There's a way to create a human, and you can have fun doing it, okay? Cloning ain't it. Cloning ain't it, all right? You ain't gonna get no feel-good vibes from creating no human that's a clone, okay? Natural is gonna feel good. Hopefully you have fun doing it. Anyway, nothing artificial is ever better than the real thing. That's the moral of the story. He says, as often as is the case with clones, they're stupider but stronger. So they can make them stronger, but they can't give them real intelligence. How about that? Next, he calls Superman a dopey Venusian. A dopey Venusian. What is that? That's a credit to his looks, his strength, and his caring heart. Dopey Venusian. Venus energy. Think the Empress card in tarot, okay? The energy of the divine feminine in masculine form. The energy of the divine feminine in masculine form. Remember, masculine and feminine are energies, okay? Male and female are physical characteristics. Masculine and feminine are energies. So it is the energy of the divine feminine in a masculine, manly man. Okay? Could that be an allusion to Yeshua? I ask that because in many esoteric circles, it is suggested that Yeshua was the embodiment of the divine feminine in masculine form. Okay? But as was the case with Yeshua, as is the case with Superman, Kal-El, in this movie, like they said in the old malt liquor ads from the 1970s and the 1980s, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Oh, was that Richard Roundtree in that ad? Somebody put that in the chat. Was that Richard Roundtree with that thick mustache and he holding that King Cobra bottle? And I'm not promoting for them because malt liquor is one of the worst things anybody could ever put in their body. I've never drank it, not judging anybody who has, but it is known that was put in a certain community to give people health issues, and it did just that. Okay, but anyway, that doesn't take away from the funniness of that ad. Okay, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Call him a dopey Venusian. I just thought that was interesting, y'all. Next, Luthor says to Superman, "My envy of you is what has ultimately driven me to annihilating you." My envy of you is what has ultimately driven me to annihilating you. That sounds a lot like Esau's frequency, okay? That sounds a lot like the Esau frequency of jealousy and the envy of the Jacob frequency. How about that? It also sounds like BDE. And I ain't talking about big energy either. I'm talking about beat envy. BDE, not big energy, big envy. That's what that sounds like. My envy of you is what has ultimately driven me to annihilating you. Some of y'all, this speaks to some of y'all watching this video right now. Some of y'all have had people hating on you for no reason. You haven't done anything. They hate on you because people like you. They hate on you because people actually like it when you show up. It's usually a wicked, low vibrational person who wants attention. They're attention starved, and you just show up minding your own business. You ain't bothering nobody. You're not fishing for compliments or anything. You just show up being yourself, and people gravitate toward you because you have a big heart, which makes you magnetic. So because you're magnetic and you draw people, wickedness don't like that. They envy you. Why? Because ain't nobody flocking around them. They go do all of this stuff. They go buy all of these nice clothes, buy all this jewelry, buy the hottest cars, whatever. They go whatever to bring attention to themselves. And they got to spend all this money and do all this extra stuff to do what a lot of y'all do just by showing up. My envy of you is what has ultimately driven me to annihilating you. So if y'all wonder why people come for y'all for no reason, it ain't for no reason. It's because you have a light that they envy. All right. Interesting that they put that nugget in there too. Next, just when it looks like Superman is about to be destroyed by his clone, fake Jake. Oops. Did I say that? Yeah, I said it. Fake Jake. Just when it looks like Superman is about to be destroyed by his clone, just when it looks like Jake about to be destroyed by a fake Jake, he laughs, knowing that he's already won. And Luthor looks at him through the camera and says, "What are you smirking for? Why are you chuckling? Why are you laughing? What's so damn funny? You about to get killed. You about to get unalived. I'm about to finish you off. What's so damn funny? Not so Superman." And he looks at him and smiles, about 1 or 2 punches away from death, and says, "Brain beats brawn." Okay? Brain beats brawn. At which time he whistles and the dog shows up and snatches fake Superman or the clone off of him and leads to a series or sequence of events that ultimately ends in Superman being victorious, okay? And the clone being destroyed. Y'all stop saying that AI is going to take over the world. Nothing artificial ever stands the test of time. Know that. Nothing artificial ever stands the test of time. How many people are eating margarine now? How many people are eating margarine versus butter? Remember when they tried to replace butter with margarine? How many people are eating margarine now? How many people are eating Crisco now, knowing what it is? How many people use Crisco shortening to cook with now? Nothing artificial ever stands the test of time. This is why Matt doesn't use these new pharmaceuticals that come out. Oh, go over here and get this antihistamine, whatever. No, listen. Benadryl been on the market forever. If I need an antihistamine, I'm gonna get some Benadryl. It's been on the market forever. Okay? Tylenol has been on the market forever. Don't bring me nothing new when the old stuff still works. Okay? Don't bring me nothing new when grandma can tell you, "Hey, go get this herb right here and mix this up and then boil some water and put it in a cup and with a little bit of honey and some lemon and sip on it and go to sleep and sweat it out or whatever." Nothing artificial ever stands the test of time. Know that, okay? And at the end, there's a disclosure of who Luthor really is, and that he has single-handedly been responsible for all of the problems on the planet. So the question I ask is, will we see a disclosure of this type in the near future? Why did they put that in the movie? Okay. Why did they put that in the movie? So my final thoughts before I go to the comments are these. Divine will and intervention always wins in the end. It always wins in the end. Next, the pieces that were put in place that would upend the dark side. No. This is what I was going to say. The pieces were put into place that would upend the dark side long before the battle ever started. So the funny thing is, the dark side thinks they're winning, but the pieces for their destruction were laid. The foundation for their destruction was laid before they started even doing their stuff. Before they started doing their dirt, the foundation for their destruction was already laid. That's how the author writes the story. Let me show you. Here's your clues. The Justice League ends up rescuing the people of Jarmanpur at the end. It wasn't even Superman. It was the Justice League. They're the ones that ended up rescuing the people of Jarmanpur while Superman took down the real enemy. So he thought he was keeping Superman busy and gonna take over Jarmanpur and unalive Superman at the same time and be done with it, kill two birds with one stone. But guess what? The Justice League shows up and says, hey, you know what? Superman was kind of tied up. He couldn't come, but you got to upgrade. Anyway, that's the Green Lantern. A little BDE, little BDE there, little big envy. Okay, a little bit, because Superman better than him. All right. Anyway, so the Justice League is the one that ended up rescuing the people of Jarmanpur while Superman took down the real enemy. The Jarmanpur War was just a distraction to mask a bigger play. The fight against Jarmanpur was just a distraction to mask a bigger play. Y'all think about that in the real world when you see these wars and, hey, they're over here doing this, or we've got the Strait of Hormuz open. It's open. We've got a deal. It's open. We got business is going to flow again. And then 2 days later, they back at war and the strait is closed, right? All of that back and forth. I knew that wasn't going to last. I knew that ceasefire, I knew it wasn't going to last. I knew it wasn't. Okay. So, but I'm telling you, all of that is a distraction for a bigger play. You got to start thinking outside the box. What is that bigger play? It really don't matter because we know who wins in the end. It's written in the scripture. Next, the girlfriend. We're talking about these pieces that were put in place to defeat the dark side before the battle even started. The Justice League was already in place, and they would ultimately be the ones to save Jarmanpur in the end, not Superman. Number two, it was the girlfriend of Luthor that did him in. Okay, she didn't like him, but she loved money and power. So she ended up being put in place. See how the Most High does things? The girlfriend of Luthor didn't like him, but she loved money and power. That's how she ended up there in order to be the one that ultimately helped to bring him down. Now, put in parentheses to ask the question here, why do a lot of females tolerate pricks when in the end they find out that all that money and status were not even worth their personal safety and peace of mind and real love? So ladies, y'all watching, if y'all have ever, no judgment here, no judgment, but why do a lot of females tolerate these pricks when in the end, all that money and status, they find out it's not even worth their personal safety or their peace of mind, or they find out it ain't even worth real love because they got, okay, yeah, I got with this dude. He got money, he got status, but he really don't even know how to love me. Real love. I'm searching for a real love. Someone to set my heart free, real love. Mary J. She wrote that. Whoever wrote that song for Mary J, they wrote it for, if she didn't write it, they wrote it for a reason. That's what they're talking about. Y'all stop chasing the money and status. Them dudes ain't about nothing. They ain't about nothing. Anyway, next, the one metahuman who had the ability to become kryptonite and keep Superman weak and imprisoned in the Pocket Universe is the very individual that ended up breaking him out. The pieces are always put in place before they're required. That's how the Most High does it. Superman was going to end up in that prison. That the one dude that was supposed to keep Superman locked up forever is the one dude that broke him out. And what did it? It was the arrogance of the wicked Lex Luthor. He didn't realize that he thought he could punk this one being but he didn't realize that he actually had a heart for people. He said, man, look, I can't let that ride. This man ain't done nothing. And then the dude trying to get Superman, don't tell them anything. He says, I don't have a family. I don't have anybody that I love or that I don't have anybody that cares about me. Please don't give him anything. Let him do. He gone. Man watched him. He's like, man, he can't do that. Who you gonna do that to next? Nah, we gotta stop him. So the pieces that are going to upend and defeat the dark side are always put in place before the battle ever starts. And finally, Superman's clone, Ultraman, was created to be physically stronger than Superman, but he lacked the spiritual gifts and the emotional intelligence that were required to defeat him. Artificial intelligence does not have spiritual gifts. I don't care how much water they put it in. I don't care how much water they put it in. Yeah, they putting in water. Yeah, they trying to. Y'all saw my last live stream. Yeah, they putting these arrays in water. Yes, they could potentially be trying to program the water. But guess what? All y'all got to do is speak to it. All y'all got to do is speak to it. Why? Because water is alive. And you are alive. So there's already a frequency match. All you got to do is speak to water to reprogram it. If water is programmable, it's reprogrammable. But a fool ain't gonna know that. A fool ain't gonna know that. So they already losing, trying to program water. Why are you programming water when somebody with the gift can speak to it and deprogram it and program what they wanted to do? Reprogram it. Superman's clone, Ultraman, was made to be physically stronger than Superman, but he lacked the spiritual gifts and emotional intelligence that Superman had. Spiritual gifts and emotional intelligence won over physical brute strength in the end, okay? And as a final Easter egg, that last scene, y'all, it had a lot of numerology apparent. Okay, though I don't know what any of it means. I don't. I'm being in 100. Yeah, I do know what numbers mean. Yeah, I can tell you. Okay, that it had a lot. For example, it had a lot of 4 energy and a lot of 22 energy. I know that 4 has to deal with the 4th chakra, or the number 4 has to deal with foundations. It's got to deal with stability. It's got to deal with the heart chakra. So your love frequency, that sort of thing. That's 4 energy. That's emotions, feelings, that sort of thing. And then 22 is a spiritual master builder number. I know that. But how it applies to the reason perhaps why the writers put that in there, maybe some of y'all watching want to put that in the comments underneath the video. I don't get that deep into it. I know other people do gematria and stuff like that. That's way above my pay grade. I don't even care to know gematria or study it or whatever. That's beyond the scope of what I need to know and what I came here to do. But maybe some of y'all want to put that in the comments for the people watching this video. Okay, so if you got anything, I'm going to show y'all the images now. Because I took some screenshots, or I took some photos of the screen. So I'm going to show these under fair use, and y'all look at them and tell me what y'all see. But you're also going to see that the back of that newspaper that I talked about before. Let me show y'all that now, and we'll wrap up. Let's do this. Okay. All right, we got it up here. All right. Okay. So on the screen, you see the back of the newspaper that the robot is holding. All right. Bunch of numerology in here. Okay. And I didn't take the full image, but on the other side over here to the left, it said final edition. Okay. Final edition. I thought that was interesting. Now, what I did do was as you can see here, it has Saturday, May 24th, but it does not have a year. So what I did was I just looked up, I did a search on, what are some things that happened around the world on May 24th of 2025, since that is when this movie originally dropped. And one of the things I noted is that the guy who originally he wrote a bunch of comics. One of them was Supergirl, and Supergirl shows up at the end of the movie. So she's in the final scene there. Supergirl is his cousin, and she's the actual owner of the dog. But let me see what that guy's name was. Let me search really quick. I think his name was hang on a second here. Let's see. Was it auto binder? No. Where is the hang on a second. What is on let's see, May 24th, 2025. On this day. What was that guy's name? It was I think his name was David something. Peter David. He was 68 years old. Peter David, American comic book writer. His name was Peter David. Okay. So yeah, so that was one of the things there, but I wanted you guys to see that. So if anybody wants to make anything of those numbers, you can also see here that I think that this is intentional, but if, as you can see, there's some words that bleed through that I think they probably wanted you to see there. Like this word on the bottom is obviously looks like witness. Up here's the word great something. Some of these were tough to make out, but you've got the number here, and here's another number here. Drop that V out of there, and you got LXX 22. That's Roman numeral. Let's break that down. L is 50, and then you got 22. So there's the number 22 as by itself right there. 22. 2 plus 2 is 4. 6 plus 7 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. Now, you don't normally reduce master numbers, but I thought it's interesting when I show you this next image. And then if you take the 50 and add that to 22, you have 72, which breaks down to 9, but I don't know if there's any significance there. I think V, Roman numeral V, would be like 5,000. So this is pretty interesting, but they and then of course here you're seeing the page he's reading is someone who died, right? So the guy who authored the Supergirl comic books died on the 24th of May. And here they're showing that this guy, that the character that died in the film. So I thought that was pretty interesting because this guy dies and he helps Superman. And in the movie, he helps Superman. And then, of course, what's his name? I just said it. Peter David wrote the Supergirl, and Supergirl shows up in the final scene of this movie. So there's that. Let's go to the next image. Let's remove this one and then share the next. And there's your robot number 4. Okay. So there's that number 4 again. Okay. And 4 is the energy of, that's like Cancer, the 4th house. And that robot is nurturing Superman and bringing him back to health. I thought that was interesting. And last but not least, we have this number with both them in it. Robot number 4 and robot number 22. Okay. So you got 22 could be reduced to 4 if you want to reduce it, but we know we don't reduce master numbers. 22 is the spiritual, is the energy of that. It's like a master number 11, but 22 energy serves to be the bridge between like the spirit realm and the physical realm. So that's the energy of, people born on the 22nd day of a month or something like that. They're architects, they're builders, but they also have the energy of they have the spiritual energy of the number 11, but they're grounded in the physical. So they have the ability to bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual. Superman is in human form, but he's a superhuman. He's a son of the gods. So I thought that was interesting. And then you got number 4 here, which is foundational, and it's also nurturing energy. It's also 4 rules over the 4th house of home, family, emotions, and it's ruled by Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So that's all it's spiritual and nurturing energy. And that's the energy of Superman too. So these are just some ideas, but if you guys got some more, you can leave them in the chat or underneath the comments under the video. So y'all, that is what I've got. I am going to go to the comments now and just look at what you guys got. She said, if you do not break it down. I just look at what's on the screen there, Lady Dagger Status. I just look at what's on the screen. Let me go back up here and finish out these comments, y'all. She said, the minute I heard the Baravian president speak, I thought of Bibi. Interesting, because I did too. I did too, there, Bernadette. Clone, let's see. Also, Stargate SG1. Commander Cisco, I'm telling you, they got some good videos on TikTok where people break down and get into what the location of these 12 Stargates are around the planet. But it is very interesting. And I think, look at that, 22 people in the chat. I can't make this up. We talking about number 22. It's 22 people in the chat. That's crazy. So yeah. Listen, I think a lot of these wars got to do with this technology and these Stargates and stuff. It can't just be about oil. Like, who buys that anymore? And then what's the benefit to us, right? Anyway, Ultraman is a Japanese tokusatsu series. Okay. You know, I remember hearing about Ultraman, but they made him, but in the movie, when he's demasked, he's Superman's clone. So I just felt like mentioning that. Can we fly like Superman? I'm serious. I would love to have superpowers. Let's activate them, man. Who would listen? I wish I could. But if I couldn't, just show me where the portal's at. Because I got some places around the world that I like to visit. That who want to be sitting in the airport waiting room, waiting area all that time. Why did I say waiting room? Airport, y'all, it's been so long. And it's been a long day. Anyway, who wants to be sitting in the airport waiting for a flight all that time? And then you got to sit on the plane all that time. Somebody fought on the plane. You can't go nowhere. That happened on the flight to Hawaii, y'all. That was one of my worst memories ever. I'm like, how many more hours we gonna be in this air? And you don't know where it's coming from. You be like, damn. Maybe that extra money for first class would have been worth it. But anyway, and Hantu virus, I guess. Good point. Says, sorry if I'm making too many off-topic comments, but you reminded me of that 50 song, Earth Angel. That's funny. They control how much of the known world we have access to create scarcity, so we fight each other over resources that are not scarce. Exactly. I think that there was a comic where Superman was the last man on Earth and he had to repopulate with all the women left. Interesting. The S on his chat. You know, I got to say, I don't think that's really plausible in real life, because then all of them end up being brother and sister, and then you got other problems that arise from that. So I don't think that would ever happen, but that's interesting. That's why, to be honest with you, I don't believe the Adam and Eve story, as far as them being the original humans, like there were no other humans on the planet. That doesn't jive. Like, no, that don't jive with me at all. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, let's see. Now, it would make sense that they're the stewards of the garden, but there had to be other people on the planet. The S on his chest is snake, aka serpent. Okay, that's enough. I've heard that. Actually, I've heard that before. Hadron Collider CERN. Yep. Imagine if we all have the technology they keep from us. We need to fight back. Yo, they can't stop what's coming. I wouldn't even put that much thought to it. I mean, people are getting activated and upgraded every day, and they can't stop it. They tried. It's too late. All this sun blocking technology, they can't. You can't stop frequency. You can try to stop the light. You can't stop frequency. They forget that there's sound frequency in what gets released from the sun. There's sound frequency too. They can't stop that. Large Hadron Collider. Thank you. How do you develop supernatural gifts and powers? Walu Clippy, you got to go within. The answers for everything that you need for you are inside of you. Go read Luke 17:20 through 21. The answers for everything that you need for you are inside of you. If you feel like you got supernatural powers and you want to develop them and you want to know how to do it, start meditating and go within. The answers are right there. They're right there. The Collider is shutting down again June 29th. They said for 4 years for upgrades and expansion. They may not have 4 years, Lady Dagger Status. Hell, they may not have 4 months, the way it's looking. June 29th is full moon with Mercury retrograde. Listen, great point. For my people that have Capricorn Sun, Capricorn or Cancer, because they're on the same axis, you got a Cancer. Y'all, I should do a separate video on this. But for my people that have significant Capricorn and Cancer placements, if you got a Capricorn Capricorn moon or Cancer moon, or you have a Capricorn 4th house or Cancer 4th house, or you have a Capricorn North node or a Cancer North node, this one could be a rough one for you, because you got a full moon that's opposing the Mercury that's retrograde in the sign of Cancer. That could be a tough couple of days. So, just try to get you some rest. Maybe avoid getting into emotionally charged conversations with people, whatever. Just until that moon moves out of Capricorn and on into Aquarius. All right, just want to pass that along. I guess 2030 preps they're trying to do, they need to repent. Yeah, they're not going to get they're not getting nothing. They're not getting no punches off that they thinking about getting off in 2030. That's why they're trying to accelerate their plans. They already know they don't have till 2030. They know that. They know. Most High laughing at them. Most High laughing at them. She said, yep, we are all getting medals regardless. Yep, good point. Facts. He did say he put the nanobots in everybody. He sure did. And he was so nonchalant when he did it. It was kind of funny. They had like every toxin imaginable in that fake snow they were releasing around the country last winter, and probably the one before. That part. Yes, he used the man's baby to keep him in check for a while anyway. Yup. Luthor kept that man in fear. He did that, but ain't that what the Matrix does? Ain't that what they do? Fear, that's why you cannot walk in the spirit of fear. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power of love and of a sound mind. Say, yeah, bugs seem to be especially attacking my face. Don't know if that is really that unusual, but it's interesting. Yeah. Devil needs minions. Yup. That moment was beautiful when he realized he was being manipulated and he had the ability to get out of that situation and use his natural powers. Yup. That was beautiful. Yes, the statement from his father made the difference. It did. You just described the dead internet theory. I'll have to look that up. I've never heard of that, Jojo Mag. And thank you for being here. Dead internet theory. I'm going to have to look that up. Let me put that in my notes because I know I'll forget if I don't. Look up dead internet theory. Thank you for that nugget, Jojo. I'm definitely going to look that up. Said, no, he cannot fight. Ladies, why would you date somebody who... I got him. No, I didn't. Damn, them things getting quicker. There's a way to get them. You're actually supposed to cup your hands and then bring it together. If you like do this, you're creating enough wind to push them away. They're already trying to fly away. But anyway, yeah, why would you date somebody that you don't even feel like if somebody rolled up on y'all, he can't even throw hands and protect you? Like, that's crazy. Anyway, Dr. Eggman Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog is like Lex Luthor. He uses his machines and technology to fight Sonic, who has supernatural speed. Wow, I'm not even up on that one. I used to play the video game back in the day on Nintendo, but no, Sega, not Nintendo, Sega. Hi, Jojo Mac. Let's see. Without his robots and the Chaos Emeralds, Eggman can't beat Sonic. Man, y'all know, y'all way ahead of me on that. Some of the stuff I'm not up on. Hey, Lady Dag, hope you're doing as well. Good night, all. Thank you, Bernadette, for being here. Okay, this may be unnecessary of me, but is anyone a gamer here? Sports games. I used to be a Call of Duty head, not anymore. Good night. Peace, family. Do right, woman, do right, man. Aretha Franklin. Okay. Charpart Creations. Oh, okay, that's somebody else. So I grew up near Metropolis. Okay. It's also the 6007 issue, which makes me think of 6-7 energy, the drill song that made 6-7 big and kids making that a popular saying. Wow. Okay. 6 energy of nurturing and compassion, and the 7 energy of wisdom and search for truth. That's a good point. Man, see, this is why we do this as a team, family. This is why we do it. What's up, Fair Use? All right, y'all. So that's everything. Let's see. She said, if you want some juicy tea, check out Bro Main's post about trans virulence. Let me take these notes. Trans virulence by Bro Main. Okay, got that. Got it. Thanks. Book of Sethanti 7 and Book of APH. Okay. I better screenshot that. Okay, got it. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank y'all for another lovely live stream. Ran a little longer than I thought it would, but sometimes I got to slow down to break it down, y'all. So anyway, thank y'all for being here. I hope y'all got some enjoyment out of this. If I missed any nuggets that y'all picked up in the film, please put them in the comments underneath the video, because I like to come back and check the comments and see what it is that y'all picked up that perhaps I missed. But it was a great movie. And again, with that back page saying final edition, that had me wondering if that's the reason why they dropped all them nuggets. Y'all, they dropped about 4 or 5 movies worth of nuggets into one film. I've never seen that many nuggets in one movie. Like, that was a lot. So she says she likes the film breakdowns. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm gonna keep doing them, Lady Dagger Status. It just whenever I get inspired to do one, I'm gonna keep it coming. So thank y'all so much. Said I need you to read this for real. Okay, promise. I don't make promises, fair use. I don't make any, but if I get the opportunity, I will look at it. I will. Thank you. Appreciate you, Jojo Mac. Appreciate you. So y'all have a great night. Listen, tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. Love is a verb. It's a noun as well. But when we focus on the verb, the noun takes care of itself. And authenticity, y'all. Authenticity and alignment. You want to stay in alignment, you got to know your natal chart, okay? If you don't know your natal chart yet, look it up. Okay, go find one of those free natal chart calculators at Cafe Astrology or Astro-Seek and plug your information in there and start getting into alignment and making sure you're in alignment with the energy that you were created to be, okay? The energy that you are, okay? Don't let anybody pull you out of who you are. Otherwise, you're not going to get done what you came here to do. That's all I got, okay? She says a quick read. Okay, all right, I got you. I'll take a look at it. Okay, yeah, do that for me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, y'all have a good night and be well. Until next time, family. Peace.